La la la. Excuse me. Excuse me. Let's see. Let's read that. Weeping Peninsula, peninsula in the Limgrave South, is named for its unceasing rainfall. Redolent of lament? What the hell does that mean? Let's do that first. Yellow amber. Oh, another one. Wow. Where the hell did that go? Oh, right here. An amber taken from the eye socket of a corpse. Material used for crafting items. A sign that the deceased suffered from the flame of frenzy. This grape has ripened and burst. Whoop. What's up, dude? How are you? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm pumped. I don't want to get my hopes up though. I agree. I mean, I do love the hype, right? Let's read what this says. Shrub, fruit bursting with ripened pulp. Tools crafting. Grown in lands afflicted by frenzy, it's used for its pain-relieving properties, though it's also known to be a dangerous intoxicant. I really wonder what this area is supposed to kind of represent. Like it's definitely a result of some tragic moment in America's life. Quite possibly the trigger for kind of her inward journey of individuation. Kalu Baptismal Church? What is Kalu? 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 I wonder what that is. I wonder if it says anywhere in here. Kalu Baptismal. Oh. The more and more I think about the story and why America is doing what she's doing, and the tragic event that started it all, is it seems that she lost a child, like perhaps lost a child. I don't want to say for sure lost a child. Oh, great. What the... over here. Oh, God. Attack! Oh, boy. Oh, this is a bad idea. Really bad. Really bad idea. Really very bad idea. I just wonder why this place in particular is so somber and deals with so much anguish. Um, oh, come on. Like it has the alien village and the castle morn and constant rainfall. And is there any like end game clue as to why this particular peninsula is so distraught and sad? Is there any sort of clues given to that? Do I just have to die here? Oh my. Oh. Oh god, I thought that was me dying. Demi-human queen staff, arterial leaf. Crimson staff styled as a scepter, a gift once given to the demi-humans to foster peace. It can be wielded even by those low in intelligence. Sneered at by fools in the academy. Hello. Huh. That's gotta be some sort of like Easter egg. One thing that that we kind of talked about earlier is the certain physical representations of the different aspects of America's psyche. And one thing that I often kind of attribute to her, the mausoleum prowls, cradling the soulless demigod. O America, Queen Eternal, he is your unwanted child. The mausoleum prowls, cradling the soulless demigod. O America, Queen Eternal, he is your unwanted child. Oh. Actually, this is good. Is Godwin not... I don't see how that's... Like, it would seem like that would be the obvious answer, right? But he's definitely not the unwanted child. Like, he's kind of like the golden child. Let's see what she has to say.
Spoken echoes of Queen Marika linger here as well. Shall I share them with you?
Before I go into this, I want to quickly touch upon the fact that this is called the Church of Pilgrimage. And this is, we see Radigan here for the first time, his statue. One of the properties of the second stage of the Animus is that they are kind of a religious entity, almost. Like they go and spread kind of they're on like a religious type of journey, and that type of journey is literally called a pilgrimage. A pilgrimage is a religious journey. Similar, so a holy expedition, a religious journey, a crusade, all these different types of things. So the fact that Radigan representing the second stage, and how well that fits, and also this being the Church of Pilgrimage and being the first time that we see Radigan, it's pretty fitting. Let's see. I don't remember what she says here. Let's see.
Marika's own words. Then, after thy death, I will give back what I once claimed. Return to the lands between. Wage war. And brandish the Elden ring. Grow strong in the face of death. Warriors of my lord. Lord Godfrey.
I wonder if the stages of the Animus, while America is growing and developing in the lands between, underneath the Erd Tree, underneath the light of all this kind of stuff, if because this process is happening in her unconscious, if the growth of the Animus happens out there, and her saying that she's going to bring them back, and what we're seeing here is Radigan, it would make sense that during her stage of development, her unconscious was developing, aka her Animus, and what came back from that would be Radigan. Hey, man. Um, you got it, dude. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you hopping on. Yeah. So going back to Galad, so he said, since we're led to believe that America was at least complicit in the night of, so I guess if we're looking, which I should be as Godwin representing the ego, and yes, America or America, salute, baby. Since America is has initiated the process of ego death, and specifically the dark night of the soul, it could be that the ghost saying those words is another representation of her going through this process of like, I don't want my ego to be, my dominant force anymore. That could be it. Aristo said, "We know why Radagon is in some of these churches, America is in others." I mean, from specifically a like straight up in game lore perspective, no. It seems to be quote unquote random. Kind of like I just described here. It seems that we know that Radagon, second stage of the Animus, second Elden Lord. As part of that second stage of the Animus, kind of their descriptor is they're kind of on like this holy crusade. Church of Pilgrimage being synonymous with, a holy mission or a religious mission or something like that. It makes sense that he would be here. Also, with the words just spoken by Marika, but echoed by Melina, it seems that when Marika takes grace away from people, they're kind of undergoing development. They're mirroring her, but in the unconscious side. And when she brings them back, what's brought back is her second stage of the Animus, which would be Radagon. But as we're going through, we should just take a peek and see exactly where Radagon is. We know Radagon is in the academy, Rithranala, and that's, kind of self-explanatory. But I think he's also in the one on the road to the capital by Rea Lucaria, Bellum Church. Yep, Bellum Church. Once we get there, we'll have to. We know that what's next to there is also one of the swords that says Radagon is basically kicking ass in the wars and is now considered a hero, and it happens in that area. And another descriptor for the second stage is a war hero. So it's kind of, there seems to be clues as to what Miyazaki is trying to portray with Radagon. He's on a holy crusade. He's a war hero. All of these things just fit so beautifully with that human psychology, Jungian deep analytics, all that kind of stuff. Can I make some? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, I literally could not imagine what that, as he's developing these things, fuck, what that room looks like. And like, you have to imagine that in his mind it makes perfect sense, right? But like, as he's explaining it to that room full of people, they're probably like, dude, what the fuck? What the hell is this guy talking about? Okay. Let's read what this tarnished. Large flower that blooms facing the Erd tree. Though wilted and faded, it still retains holy essence. I think that's a pretty... I mean, I don't want to say for sure, but to me that's Miyazaki saying that this is what we are. Like we seem to be like kind of discarded and forgotten, but we still, since we're a specific part of America, we retain kind of that holy essence, that guidance of grace kind of thing. Not to distract you from the deadly fight, but did you cover those perforated tombstones in the Capitol? There's a single one in Castle Morn I find curious. They're in DLC picture. In the Capitol. Are you, so in Castle Morn, are you talking about that huge one that's at the end of the boss fight there? Oh, I hate these fucking things. Does somebody want to look up for me really quick? What these guys are singing again? if I remember right, I think it's like Latin that some people were able to translate, and I feel like it's something about the death of a child or something. I could be way off. Damn it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Golden Rune 6. So I haven't specifically covered the big tombstones, and actually now that I don't remember there being one in the capital. Where at in the capital is it? Song of Lament, I think. Yeah, do we have Song of Lament? Lament. Alas, that land once blessed now has diminished. We, destined to be mothers, now become tarnished. We have lamented and we have shed tears, but no one consoles us. Golden One, at whom you were angry. Ah, that's really interesting, actually. So, if I'm reading that correctly, and kind of, it sounds like basically that the song is representing something akin to a miscarriage, and that where where they were putting their faith in previous to that is they're kind of questioning. They're, you know, we're sad and this terrible thing has happened to us, even though that we have been doing all the right things and worshiping this God, and they seem that this Golden One is kind of casting them down. A lot of Trina's lilies here. I wonder what this place was. Which would make really good sense as to what America is experiencing. After the Golden Order took over, they hoarded all grace for themselves. Who's they? To me, that's just, again, kind of, it points in the direction that America had some sort of miscarriage, and made her question what she was doing, the decisions that she made up to that point, all those different types of things. Fourth Church of America. Greater Will and Golden Order would be America and her family religion. I would assume grace comes from Greater Will, and the Golden Order would be America and her family / religion. Let me think about how I want to. I think it's possible that grace does come from the Greater Will. But I don't think that the Golden Order would be America and her family religion. I think the Golden Order is the current status quo of America's thought process is kind of how I would explain that. So we kind of talked about it in our last time. It's also worth noting that it seems like the different churches get further and further away from like the capital. And I'd be curious to know, actually let's just go look. Interesting. So one thing that I think we should keep in mind as we're going through this, and I want to bring up the DLC picture. Elden Ring. Yeah, first is close to the fire giant, and the first one represents Godfrey. It's very early on in her, and actually now that I'm thinking about, and we're at a church, Aristo, I don't think that those four things are tombstones. I think that they're the four churches of America. And I've said that, I think in another video, but I believe the four churches are incredibly important, and they all represent the different stages of her animus, and AKA of the Elden Lord. But one thing I want to kind of look at as we're going through is the background of where America is at relative to these churches. They all seem to be facing the Erd tree, with the exception of the last one. The last one seems to be facing away from. It's facing completely, almost completely away from the Erd tree, which would definitely fit the theme of her turning away from the Golden Order and the current way of thinking, and that her process of individuation is steering her away from what she once coveted so much. It's interesting. I also love that this fourth church, all you hear in the background is the bell tolling. Let's knock it down. Oh, what does this say? Oh, there it is, the tower. Finally, I can return to our home bathed in rays of gold. Yeah, definitely not very good guards. But to be fair, they don't have a head. So it'd be hard to guard something if you don't have a head. This guy is, what I believe is happening with these types of phantoms is that they're being projected. Like I would almost make the claim that he is in the quote-unquote shadow of the Erdtree realm, because him saying that he wants to go back home to be bathed in rays of gold, to me means that he is no longer part of America's consciousness. He's been cast aside, and is now kind of lost in this other world. And the mushrooms and stuff growing would be kind of another indication that, mushrooms kind of grow on decayed things. So, him being a projection from that other realm, kind of the underworld shadow of the Erdtree type of place, would make sense based off of what he's saying, that he wants to go back home. And I think part of the... Oh, fuck me. I literally just ran right underneath that. Oh my god. What an asshole. What an asshole. Wow. Oh god, that was good. That was good. If you guys are liking this, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up on the stream. It goes a long way. I don't really do this for that, but it is. I mean, it kind of feels good. You know what I mean? It kind of feels good. I'm not gonna lie. Thanks, buddy. I thought it would be kind of an interesting way to go about it. And I want to number these so that way people, once my channel gets gigantic, you know what I mean? Very soon, I'm sure. People can go back and get an idea of exactly what the F I'm talking about. Because it is one of those things that unless you are familiar with the channel, and you've at least watched the first of my lore videos, you might not have any idea the terminology and kind of the references okay, let's hit this. Thank you. Thank you. Oh boy. I thought I only had to do 2. No? No? Alright. See if we can find any clues up in her. No. Remembrance duplication. Oh, I don't know. Wonder if you could put keywords on themes you address so it shows up in searches. I have. Yeah, I guess I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm pretty new to this, and I haven't really taken the time to learn YouTube very well. I do it just because I really enjoy it, and I think it's I think we're onto something big that seems to be unique in its approach, which again I'm really surprised that other lore videos haven't I'm not going to say caught on by any means, because it's not like it's a definite for sure, but at least drawn the parallels between these things, and started to come up with videos like that.
Well,
my guess is
it's been an age since
6 months, a year from now, it's going to be a major topic of discussion.
help here at the
Yeah. Take those. Uh-huh. I have 27 of these? Jeez. Jeez, oh Pete. It's just Walmart. They're basic. Yeah, it's exceedingly rare to find, but he has 5 of them. That is one of my favorite. That might have been one of the first things that started me on this journey of like human development. Is, to me, that's a very big clue that like it literally is telling us that the world is alive. And then once you collect all the pieces, you realize that the entire map is a fetus. And it's got different brain scans from different stages of human development and all this different type of stuff. And America's the god, and like all these different things. It was definitely one of the first first big items that made me like turn to kind of where I'm at now. Yeah, dude. Yeah. If you're at your computer, just do a Google search of Elden Ring map, and then you can find one that you can basically click everything off of. So it's just the map. There's no waypoints or anything like that. It's definitely a fetus. And then if you look at the like moat around the capital, it's 100% a brain scan. There's a lot more. If you watch some of my old last couple streams, I cover it. I just have a character that is. This was a really not great strategy here, Jake, to just walk into a bunch of enemies. But we're good. We're too good for this. Come on. Come on. Come on. Like the mountaintops of the giants is the head. You can actually, there's literally what I would consider the umbilical cord of Mirani's Great Tower. The arterial leaf saying basically that it's pulsing and it's red and it's alive. Yeah, it's we have a lot of clues as to why I'm choosing to use human psychology and development as a blueprint. And that's another piece that I'm really surprised that I haven't heard anybody, because it's, and I could be super biased, but the map to me doesn't seem like they're trying to hide anything. Like it seems very straightforward what they're doing. Yep, exactly. Folds in the brain. Definitely. Like if you put that side by side up to like a brain scan, it's identical. Oh, I forgot there was a. Let's see how this goes. So the tree will be the spinal cord. It's possible. I tend to think that the tree is just the physical representation of kind of the current world order, if you will. Like it's golden right now because the golden order is the dominant force in the lands between, and then we know. You're all good, man. No, it's a lot. If you're interested, I would really I would urge you to watch some of my last couple live streams. I pretty much cover everything in there. But I think that the Erd tree is just the physical representation of the current world order, and I say that because we know that the tree changes color based off of the different elements that is reintroduced into it, and the different endings that we pick as well. I think it's just it's a physical representation of the health of and the strength of America's ego, and the actual outer shell of it is whatever the current world order is that she is coveting. Fuck me. God bless America. I don't even know why I'm doing this. What an idiot. Why am I here? What am I doing with my life? I don't have to fight this guy. No. I don't think that she's a mimic tier. I, 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 I think that the fact that she's broken and cracked, again, is just a physical illustration of what is going on behind the scenes, kind of within her psyche. I think if we look at the event in her life that caused her so much pain and anguish and the beginnings of the process of individuation, if we look at that as being some sort of miscarriage, or some sort of issue prenatally, I think that the fact that the Nox and what they're doing and mimics being a artificial way of life fits really well, because if America couldn't bear children in the real world, it would fit that there was a period in her life where what are you doing? What? I just walked right back into there. Oh my god. Get your head out of your ass. That something like artificial insemination or whatever that process looks like is part of the story. I think it fits. I think it fits well. Oh, no, I don't. All right, let's go cast some more. Just another thing that I think would be really cool to with that kind of thought process, as we're going through the Eternal City, and experiencing that, it would be interesting to have that as our blueprint, and if it holds much validity to kind of what I would say the tragic event in America's life would be. I want to come back to here. It'd be funny if the Nox had built a super mimic to be their god, and she took over the world, kicked them underground to shush them. It'd be funny if the Nox had built super mimic to be their god, and she took over the world and kicked them out. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. I think that'd be a really cool game, and it could be what's happening. I don't know. I'm just the bulk of the evidence seems to be pointing in one direction, and that's not it. That being said, we don't have all the necessary evidence to make a well-informed, anyways, kind of conclusion. I think we have enough to build a theory, and go about the world and see if it fits. But like if from a religious standpoint, and I'm talking like fundamental religious standpoint, old school, Old Testament, the the advancement of technology and medicine is looked at in a very negative way, because they believe that if somebody's dying and somebody's sick, that's God's will, and we as man are not supposed to interfere with God's will. And that goes all the way, really, to the very, very tipping point of that, as far as artificial life, artificial intelligence. Like that's kind of the end result of medical intervention, is that we are now playing God. And I think that that's why they're kind of cast down to where they are, is because if the greater will is the God of, of this story, it would make sense. It would make sense that that entity and the people that are devout to that would cast anything that opposes that underground. It's like the Catholic Church and kind of the development of, really not just of scientific advancements, but more specifically like cosmology, and that understanding that the Earth was not the center of the universe and the sun wasn't when we started discovering those, the Catholic Church pushed all those people underground, like literally. And I think that that's the beginning of the Illuminati, is they are trying to spread enlightenment that is frowned upon by the Roman Catholic Church, because it directly conflicts with their beliefs and the beliefs of millions of people. And if America is the Empyrean of the greater will and is the vessel of that influence, and one of the things that was cast down was the advancement of medical and specifically artificial life. If America herself lost a child, even being this devout for religious devotee, it would make sense that once that happens and she loses a child, that she looks inwards and is questioning everything that she's ever thought to be true. And I think that's a pretty common thing. It's I don't want to say it's easy. Oh my God, don't kill me. It's easy to condemn those things until your child is sick, or you are sick, or a loved one is sick, and you can't wrap your head around why your God that you love and is benevolent and all kind and all good would do something like that to you, being a child of God, and you start to question a lot. I think I need to tune up my weapon a little bit. Yeah, exactly. There's another interesting book, the Book of Enoch, that I think tells the story of the Glowmite Queen and her followers quite well from that kind of standpoint. When is she gonna take me to the round table? I feel like I need to level up my weapon a little bit. Oh, okay. I'll continue. I think I got it. Just said a grace. Oh, outside of Limgrave. Oh, I got you. Thanks, man. It actually might be worth doing. There's some really good information in there. Let's go ahead and do that. Don't. Remember the first time I played this game? The challenge of Margit was like unreal. Because it felt like it was the only place to go, and you were like super underpowered and all sorts of shit. And now it's like you can have so much. You can have so much like upgrades and stuff by the time you fight them that it makes it a joke of a fight, honestly. Miyazaki's always done a really good job of that. Like if you look back at the first Dark Souls, Taurus Demon kind of feels like that. Seems like an impossible task when you're first getting into it, and then by your 10th time playing, you're like, you walk into it with the, or maybe not. Sorry, I meant to say the Bale Gargoyles. You walk into it with like this level 5 weapon or the Drake Sword or something, and just you summon Solaire, and it's like a 5-second fight, and the first time you spend a month trying to beat it.
Everyone's been grafted. Everyone who came with me. They crossed the sea for me. They fought for me. Only to have their arms taken. Their legs taken. Even their heads taken. Taken and stuck to the spider. Did you know? If you're grafted by the spider, you become a chrysalid. It's quite a lark when you think about it.
Is it?
You're all on your own, are you? And heading to Stormvale Castle? Enticed by the one in the white mask, I suppose. Oh, You've come to be one with the spider? Well, that makes us two peas in a pod. But I don't have your courage. It's scary, you know, having your arms cut off, or legs, or your head. I want to be like everyone else, but I'm just too scared. I'm nothing but a craven. Oh, I know. Can you take this little one along with you?
Sure.
The poor thing deserves someone braver than myself.
You're brave.
And the spirits look rather fondly upon you. It'll be
How do you
glad
know
of
that?
your company, I think, the little un. It was a pleasure to see you. Oh, can you pass on a message for me? If you see the little chrysalids in Stormvale Castle, tell them I love them. And that, despite my craven heart, I'm sure I'll be joining their club soon enough. I'm finally getting the hang of this whole pain thing, you know?
So she mentions chrysalids, and it has a couple different definitions. The first is the object papa of a moth or butterfly, and then the second one is anything in this process of developing.
It was a pleasure to see you. Oh, tell them I love them. I'm finally getting the hang of this whole pain thing, you know?
So if we kind of decipher what she's saying from a bigger point of view, it seems like pain is the first step of becoming a chrysalid, and chrysalid is the process of developing, which kind of fits the whole theme of America herself, where she's in pain, right? Something happened, triggered this process of development. She's kind of giving us a microcosm of the bigger story here. One of the very first NPCs we meet, kind of looking back on it. And then it's something that's going to be important when we get to the spider Godfrey, is the great rune he's holding, and what that means, and why he's acting the way that he's acting. Jeez, freaking hyper armor. My God. What's up, dude?
Not seen you before. Name's Bernard. Tarnished, just like you. Let me ask you something. Are you here in the lands between to take up the fight? Does your faith in the guidance of grace hold firm, despite the collapse of the Golden Order?
It sure does.
Yes, you're a Tarnished through and through. Takes me back. But that's a quality needed now more than ever. Any interest in bearing the torch of my battle arts? All I know is the sword. Picked up a fair few tricks in my time, too. Now's the time to pass them on. To a good and proper Tarnished, like you.
Thanks, man. Maybe I'll do a
There's a myriad of
strength build. I haven't done one of those in a long time.
Yet to discover. Mementos of all the warriors who raised their arms in battle, lost and died. A fine tale, all told, of true chivalric romance. That's how I fell in love with the sword and the arts of combat. It grants meaning even to falling in battle, to death itself.
So he gives us some good information there. Bahunga. He gives us some good information that the Tarnished are still completely devoted to the guidance of grace, and their faith hasn't wavered in any sort. Oh yeah, if you take notes, yeah, exactly, yeah. And that he is also a Tarnished, and we later learn that he's one of the very few people that has ever made it to Fair Missoula. Which is really, really interesting. But he kind of fell in love with battle, and I think that it's reflected in the gear that he wears. I think that his gear is called like the Gear of the Beast or something like that. But it just shows that he is still kind of in that very primal, instinctive, or he went that path. It's almost like Bloodborne. Like he kind of got consumed by that. He was that close to becoming Elden Lord, but his love for battle and that kind of more beastly side of himself is what seems to have stopped him. Well,
until we meet again.
He drops the staff of the serpent devouring world. So he already is working for Rykard. Yeah. I didn't know he did it right now. That's cool. Interesting. I also find it interesting that he's not in the Round Table Hold. Huh, interesting. Only when you can't refer him as well. That's cool. Unthinkable or hallowed resting places violated. To refuse the Urtru's call to return to live within death, sickening. Drop a little thing. So then it would definitely seem that him and Rykard and Ronnie, I guess, were all working together to kill Malekith. It's funny that you would think with the power of Ronnie and Rykard together that they'd be able to kill Malekith. It seems like the Tarnished are the only ones that are like able to like physically act in this world. Knights on horseback are deadly foes. They see all below from their lofty position, meeting little meaningful resistance as they charge ahead. I feel like this spot is an Easter egg about the crucifixion. Guard with this spear, 3 crosses. Yeah. The Christian overtones of this game are not a hidden thing by any means. I want to do that, but I want to. Let's just continue down here. Go meet D. I hear you. I'll be right back. They can't reach Fair Missoula, I guess. One is a doll and the other a giant snake. Yeah. Ronnie seems to be able to kind of just do whatever the hell she wants, though. So it's interesting that she can't. Jeez, dude. That she can't just go there.
Here is a cut.
Thank you.
I must have.
It seems the only way to get there is through Melina. Oh.
There's no mistake, is there? Death has left its mark once again.
That's my talk.
You're tarnished, are you? I'm known as D. I hunt down those who live in death and weed their death root. Heed my warning. The village here has been touched by death. And worse yet, it is home to a mariner. If you value your life, then go no further.
His another like clue of the split that's happening within America is very well brought to life by his armor set. In Fair Missoula, a lot of the iconography is that's a real dog. That's my dog. Yeah. Yeah. He's a 90-pound pit bull and just the softest little teddy bear in the world. Yeah. But this is... He's doing it again. Dude. Hank. This is describing in one armor set exactly what is happening with America. And I described this in my part 2 of my lore videos, all about the Glowmite Queen and the Shadow and stuff like that. That America has completely detached herself from her shadow, and has locked it away, and that is what has gotten her to the point that she's in. this division caused by her ego and what she wants to be, and how badly she wants to be accepted. And this is a perfect representation of that, that the fact that it's the golden armor that's in control, and shutting the eyes of the silver armor. I think it's really, really telling. One thing that I think is interesting, though, is that the silver part is the part with holding the weapon, which might be kind of an analogy to the fact that the outcasts, the unconscious parts of America, are starting to rebel, and they have the power, and they're the ones kind of doing the damage now. I've never noticed that. That's really interesting. I did not mean to get on my horse. Huh. Cool. Very interesting. Yeah, it's almost like the ego side is so obsessed with keeping its image and holding back the shadow, that it's kind of let go of really the most important thing, which in this case for, you know, a warrior would be their sword, because he has another golden arm. I mean, that golden arm could just reach over and grab it. Huh. That's really interesting. Hey, Kim. Yeah. Yep, for sure. One of kind of the descriptors. Why do you think he covers eyes of silver-headed chest? I think it's literally just like that part of them is completely left in the dark. It's completely cast away. Is not. Yeah, I think so too, Kim. I saw your comment on my lore video, and I really appreciate it. That was my first ever video I've ever made, and yeah, I think it shows. I mean, it was a lot of random cutoffs and kind of shitty, but I think that the overall story of it flowed okay, and getting my thoughts down. I think it's definitely, it might be worth kind of making a version 2 of it, just to do it justice. But according to Jung, the birth of the ego is also the birth of duality, because you're focused on splitting things into right and wrong, based off of how you want to view yourself and how you want the world to view you, and not necessarily how things really actually are. So duality is a byproduct of kind of like this hyperactive ego. It's a very divisive part of our character, and often leads to a lot of... Yeah, I agree. Yep. Yeah, it's I was saying earlier, Kim, that I find it really interesting that nobody has, with all the visual clues and everything going on, that nobody's really picked up on that part. I think 6 months to a year from now, once the DLC is out and we get more of the story, I think it's gonna. I think that this Jungian concept is gonna blow up. You heard it here first. Breaking news, y'all. But I struggle listening to some of the bigger YouTubers because I like, not trying to sound like an asshole, but I just feel like they're not even close. Like, they're just as close as we were day one as they are now, and they all just kind of keep circling the same talking points, which, you know. Yeah, I think it's worthwhile, Kim, looking at the process of individuation. I know one of, like, the really big theories in the beginning was all about. Let's go talk to D again. Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I didn't know you moved.
Another fool who won't listen to reason, eh? But with a prowess for weeding Deathroot. How would you like to earn the strength of beasts? If you're inclined to hunt more of those who live in death,
for sure,
and weed their Deathroot.
Yeah, it's definitely worth. It's definitely worth doing. I think that's part of it. It's like the necessary part of understanding the world, is to do it in a very, like, well, here is what the game is telling us from a, like, a very in your face way, in the item descriptions and all this different type of stuff. But I think we found over and over and over again with FromSoft and Miyazaki that gets you like 5 or 10% into the actual story. And being 3 years into it, the fact that they're still talking about it is like is really strange to me.
Should not be. Someone or something threatens the sanctity of the Golden Order.
Oh no.
Must be eradicated.
Well, that would be Godwin. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I again, the content that they put out is really well done, and definitely deserves a watch. I'm just really more surprised that there hasn't been some offshoots in a more mainstream channel. That's it. Just kind of surprises me as well. But you should look at the process of individuation, as Carl Jung puts it. I know that. Yeah, I know exactly. And I really struggle with the church. Round table hold, baby. Let's go. Yeah, it's very all consuming once you understand it, and like the sense that it makes of the world. It's really hard to go back, and it would take a lot for me right now for somebody to change my mind. Yeah, man, you have a good day too. I'm really glad you stopped by, dude. Appreciate it. I'll be on tomorrow again, probably for most of the day. Honestly, I have tomorrow off work, so I'm planning on streaming quite a bit. But what I was saying, Jiminy crikey, is that I know that alchemy was like a really, really big part of the lore community in the beginning. And Carl Jung was a student of alchemy. He loved it. And he believes that the process of individuation and the alchemical process of the magnum opus are one and the same. Just one happens on the outside, one happens on the inside. So learning that both of those theories, because it's you can't ignore the alchemy in this game, and the theories hold a lot of weight, and to know that Jung was a student of it, and oh my god, get away from me, dude! You are, sheesh, tarnished eater, huh? Man, is my stream super laggy right now? It does not look very good. I don't think I have the ability to do it in 60 FPS. Yeah, she's tough. She's a tough old broad. Smoldering church. Interesting. For example, I've asked different people why they think Miquella is unalloyed because I'm fascinated by the term in the context of Golden Order. Now I think the best answer is Jungian. Yeah. I think there's two. I think that Miyazaki does a beautiful 2-for-1 there, that we kind of talked about with round table hold.
Forgive me. I've been testing you.
It's cool.
To determine if the Elden Ring would truly have you. If you had the mettle to endure this long and arduous path.
I do.
It seems my worries were unfounded. Torrent had your measure from the very start, whereas I merely pretended. There is but one other thing I can do to offer you guidance. I can take you to the Round Table Hold, gathering place of tarnished champions, guided by grace.
Really interesting there. We believe that the Elden Ring is the symbol of America's psyche, and basically what she's telling us is, I just wanted to make sure that you were strong enough and the right person to join, or she says, take on the Elden Ring, which is really, really fascinating. Are you the right person to basically join America, join her psyche to usher in this new stage of development?
Very well. Let my hand rest upon you for but a moment.
What's your interpretation of the Round Table Hold? God, dude, that is a really good question. I might have to be right back. Sorry about that. Just to finish my thought on Mikola really quick, I think that Miyazaki does a really good thing here. Putting two really cool elements together in one person. The fact that we know that the alchemical process of the magnum opus is turning a base element into pure gold, and with our assumption that Mikola is the balancing partner, the fourth stage of the animus, kind of the final stage of this process of individuation, and for him to be, with the moniker of unalloyed is like, oh, so beautiful. And then the fact that Mikola has the power, his golden needle has the power to stave off outer god effects and what we understand the outer gods to be now, and the fact that that is also unalloyed gold because of the lobotomy process and things like that. It's so cool. And I think that DLC is just going to be all about Mikola and understanding him better, because he is the biggest piece of this puzzle. What are my interpretations of the Round Table Hold? Oh, man. It's really, really hard. We know that it's just based off of the map that it's like, right, exactly. The power to confront pathology, right? Are you saying that is your question, that's the final stage of individuation, or the more lobotomy process? It's kind of, I mean, they both kind of had like the same similar effect. We know that the Round Table Hold is outside the Lands Between, which to me means that it's outside of Marika's consciousness. Whether it's her subconsciousness, I'm not sure. But I definitely think it's a place inside Marika's psyche. It could be Marika. Yeah. So the thing with all the demigods is that they're aspects of Marika's personality, or they're aspects of Marika's psyche. So technically they're all kind of Marika, if you will. And I think this will make more sense once we defeat the Grafted and we see what he's turned into based off of the rune that he's holding. But I think that the Round Table Hold seems to be this subconscious realm of Marika's psyche. Right, there's a copy of it at the center of the map. So it's a place familiar to Marika, that she doesn't necessarily have. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. She doesn't necessarily have control over, if you will. But that's just my best guess. It could be, and the other one being the consciousness. So I think everything that is underneath the purview of the Erd Tree, quote unquote, bathed in rays of gold, within the Lands Between, like everything on the surface of the Lands Between is her consciousness, and then everything kind of in either underground or outside of that area is something like her unconsciousness. Yeah, but it's such a hard, it's really hard to decipher. I actually always had, I always had, not always. Recently, I had the thought of these folks in here are the real life version of the demigods. Like it's like he could be Rykard, and we know that we find some of his stuff in Rykard's boss room fight. Corrin would be somebody like Moog. It's in like in the outside world, because they have the runes. What they're obsessed with here creates kind of the monster version of that in the Lands Between, kind of on the outside world. I don't know if it holds any merit at all. It was just kind of an interesting thought that I had. Because to me, like if we're here, and Melina is saying that we're powerful enough to take on the Elden Ring, then that means that these guys here are in the same boat as us. And it's possible that once the shattering happened, their obsessions grew and grew and grew and are now manifested in kind of the outside world. So I think, like, if I was going to put a name to these, like, I would say this would be Moog. Maybe. He would definitely be Rykard. Maybe not. It's all about blood, so maybe, and revenge, so maybe Moog. Oh, he would be Moog. Morgott. The twins. Michaela Melania. I'm not sure. It might not hold any weight at all. Let's get some dialogue here and see if we can figure something out.
This is a rare occasion. I can't remember the last time a new Tarnished made their way to the round table. Very well. As your senior, I bid you welcome. It is safe here. You may let down your guard.
Who is the first of America's children? Who would be the oldest?
Allow me a word of advice. As your senior, you are a mere visitor to the round table. Nothing more. A house guest. Yet to earn their keep. Remember your place. Newcomer.
Newcomer.
There's nothing left to say. Be at your leisure.
Very interesting. Sounds good.
Oh, I see you've just arrived. Welcome to the Round Table Hold. I'm Corrin, a man of the cloth. I teach incantations, the strength granted us by the Two Fingers, and explore the secrets of the Golden Order, so that one day, if a Tarnished of the Round Table Hold should become Elden Lord, I might counsel them, ensuring order regains its proper form, righting rule over men. By the way, do you still see it? The guidance of grace.
I see it.
You do? Wonderful news. Most Tarnished are blind to it these days. You are something of a rare breed. Well, what do you say? Care to learn an incantation of the Two Fingers?
Sure. Incantations of Two Fingers. Two Fingers has high hopes for the Tarnished, that even if they should be wounded, even should they fall, they will continue to fight for their duty. Follow the path that has been set for you, and you will make enemies of all others. The monks, the sorcerers, the ancient dragons. Lands between offers no welcome to the tarnished. Hark, tarnished, if you truly walk in faith, you must be prepared to reject all else. Incantation originating from a sinister prophecy momentarily sparks flame from caster's hand. The flame of ruin is anathema to the Erd Tree. What the frick is anathema? Anathema. Oh, something or someone that one vehemently dislikes. A formal curse by a pope? Oh my god. Excommunication, a person denouncing a doctrine. Interesting. Okay. Flame of Ruin is basically a curse to the Erd Tree, but prophets sometimes glimpse it within the faith, all the same. Sadly, when this occurs, the sole reward is banishment. Same thing there.
May the golden order shine through you.
He makes it seem like, yeah, I think, what was his name? Sorry, dude. I think Aristo was right in that the challenge stuff to the core. You think so? Let me read it again.
I can happily spend.
Fortification. You will make enemies of all others, the monks, the sorcerers, the ancient dragon knights, and the scions of gold. Heed me, the lands between offer no welcome to the tarnished. Two fingers have high hopes for the tarnished, that even they should be wounded, even if they fall, they will continue to fight for their duty. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So I'm taking it in a slightly different like tone, but I think we're understanding it in the same. I think that it seems that the guidance of grace is in fact the greater will and not America, and that the greater will is doing everything it can to keep order in the world, because that's kind of the greater will. I think is an outer god just like everybody else. It just happens to not have the moniker outer because it's literally the god of our world, the god that America chose to worship and became an Empyrean for. And I think that this is just saying, like, good old Tarnish, you're just gonna kind of keep doing the same thing you're doing, even though that the world is starting to figure out what the fuck is going on, and they're gonna be against you and try and stop this because that's for the better of the world. You're still acting as part of the greater will to keep order in this place. Is kind of the way that I'm keeping it. It's almost the opposite of that. We're supposed to challenge things. It's almost like everything's going to challenge us because they want us to stop just resetting the cycle. But
hello again. You haven't gone to see Garank yet, have you? Well, no rush.
yeah,
Leave as you please. Just
exactly.
as long as he doesn't starve to death, eh? Go to Garanko.
You say it a lot better than I do.
Killing those who live in death and weeding their death root.
I always know what I'm trying to say, but like my word hole is not very smart.
Go to Garanko only if you feel the time. Killing those who live in death and weeding their death root is a path not to be trod without ample resolve.
Okay.
Ah, hello. You must be new here. Well, just call me Dialos. The honor of one's house holds little import in these lands. By the way, have you met a young woman named Lanya on your travels? She's my servant, but fickle as the wind. Take your eyes off her for but a moment and she's good as gone. If you find her, please be sure to tell me.
It definitely does.
Be sure to tell me if you meet a young woman named Lanya. She's a servant to my house. She's been my companion since childhood. I've lost count of the number of times I've had to find her like this. Honestly, she's such a little tomboy.
Hey.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm just at home.
Oh, are you co-sleeping with Leon?
I didn't pick him up.
What?
I don't have Leon.
Oh, you're not co-sleeping, huh?
I'm not what? Oh, co-sleeping with Leon.
What's for dinner, babe?
Your new face.
I have burgers out.
No matter. It's all the
Do we
same.
have buns?
Yeah.
We do?
Yep.
Lay out your arms.
That's great.
Let's get
You want to grab Leon and come home?
Yeah, I gotta swing by something in East Village, and then I'll go pick you up.
Okay.
I see you've noticed the chains.
Alright, bye.
Nothing special. I'm a prisoner and these are my chains. I'm trapped by the hold. I'm dying, smithing for you fools. That's all there is to it. No, don't read too much into it. I've no grudge against you. My being a prisoner is no fault of yours. Besides, I don't mind smithing. Despite my differences, the weapons get stronger all the same. Given time, technique never fails. Besides, it helps me forget the sheer terror of her.
I tend to think that the person that he's talking about there is the Glomide Queen. Only because things like Omen and the Misbegotten seem to be a aspect of America's unconscious side. Kind of like those castaway type of figures. And it seems that the kind of the god of that space or that realm is America's other half, her shadow side, which would be the Glomide Queen. Yeah. It's so hard to Also makes sense that as the self attempts resurrecting, the elements that hold power in that configuration will struggle against the creation of the next state. Yeah, fear of change, 100%. I've often made the comparison of that fear of change or resistance to change to Radon, and how powerful that is. That emotional state, how powerful that is. I don't think is any coincidence that it seems that him being the quote unquote strongest of all the demigods, seems to fit. Alright, let's read those. Crepus, Black Key, Crossbow, Weapon of Crepus, who served the two fingers from the shadows of the round table as the head confessor. From the shadows of the round table as the head confessor. Interesting. Black Key Bolt, Assassin's Tool of Exquisite. The intricate spiral tip bores deep, injecting scarlet rot far into the flesh of its target. Oh, I can't. Interesting. The word fate bet. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, his entire story is one of gaining enough power so that way he doesn't have to change anything. Right? Like, his best friend, the horse, he doesn't want to leave him. He doesn't want to change anything, so he figured out a way to not have to do that.
Greetings, great champion called by grace. I am Fear. Circumstances have compelled my stay at the Round Table Hold. Great champion, would you allow me to hold you? But briefly, perhaps you might share with me some of your lively vigor and your stout-heartedness. Doing so will grant me the warmth of a champion, and you, I am sure, will bear a Baldakin's blessing. Do you think it vulgar, perhaps?
No.
Where I come from, it is a sacred act. Ah, my thanks, great champion.
I love how slow and deliberate
You are
that act is. Such a surrender.
what you felt light up inside you was a Baldakin's blessing. Though it is but a fleeting thing, I am afraid. Come back to me, should you require another. I will take you in my arms as often as you need.
Yeah. I bet you're right. Nice warm hug for Papa Miyazaki. Take a peek at her a little bit. Yeah, I mean this... Hey, dude. How are you, man? Thanks for hopping on. This round table hold just seems to be kind of a collection of different memories of different important moments in America's life. I ain't ready for that. I ain't ready for that yet. Yeah, right. Yeah. Actually, I think we kind of expanded on that a little bit. Earlier, we ran into. Let me see. I want to read this really quick. Sorry. The lower arc of the Elden Ring is held to be the basin in which its blessings pool. Perhaps this shard originates from that very arc. Said to be a fragment of the black moon that once hung above the eternal city. I'll get your little thing. We discussed the Song of Lament by the Harpies. And how it seems to echo the songs of a mother who lost her child, probably something more like miscarriage than like the death of a child itself, for kind of lack of a better phrase. And that seems to more probably fit the trigger that caused this process of individuation and stuff to start. So I think yeah, your first analysis of it I think was spot on about, you know, and the fact that the map is a fetus and all this different type of stuff. Oh. Go on. Very Bloodborne-esque in here. It's another form of hope. What do you mean by that? Like Thea is another form of hope? The idea of her own poster child. Oh, sure. Yeah. I think that the fact that these beasts are tied up and howling and seem to be desperately trying to get out, is another like representation of the imprisonment of the shadow self, more beastly side. And the longer that you hold it prisoner, the stronger and more powerful it grows and gets until it lets loose. Sure, we'll hand over this one. We can talk about that later.
I smell it. Death. Feeding me. Tarnished. Bring more death.
Bring
I shall
more.
grant thee eye and claw. Feed me more.
Clawmark, Beast Eye. America seems to have given up, but Fia seems to stand for people trying to tell you through comfort. That doesn't mean you'll have another miscarriage if you try again. Yeah. Let's look. Beast eye. Claw-marked eye stone received from Gronk, beast clergyman. It is said to tremble when near Deathroot. The murky violet iris rise as if alive. I'm not sated. Feed me more death. Feed me more. It's almost like he's not that he's asking to be fed more death, that like that's like his like sign off, like that's his name. Yeah. Is there a name for taking over over the shadow in an individual? For the taking over of the shadow in an individual. Yeah, I'm not. That's a really good question. Shadow possession. I wonder what that. Possession. I don't know if it has an actual like specific term. He talks about, you know, being possessed by your shadow, but he doesn't give it an actual name. A man who is possessed by a shadow is always standing in his own light and falling into his own traps. No, I actually don't. I really only play FromSoft games. I play them pretty infrequently. I've never seen a lore video or anything with this kind of theme to it. I just kind of. I know you said this was the first game where you. Yeah, I've always like wanted to, like from the days of Dark Souls, but I never really, I never dedicated myself to it and like did any research on it or anything like that. Yeah, Possessed, yeah, Possessed is pretty apt. You're definitely right. So it's just really this theme specific. You mean like the game? I've always been fascinated with human psychology, but that's not unique to me. Like, there's a reason that like true crime is one of the most watched things. It's a fascinating concept why people do what they do, and understanding like your true inner self. I forget exactly what I was doing. I was trying to put like things together in my head, like not planning to make a channel or, you know, theorize about anything, but I was just kind of trying to. And there's this. I stumbled across Carl Jung because I was kind of looking up the term shadow, and it's yeah, the thing with Jungian analytics is it's like it talks about the very building blocks of what make a person tick and do what they do. So you're gonna find that in a lot of stories. Hypothesis and individuation. Also, would you say that the fight against Elden Beast is an hypothesis? I don't think that that's stated in his theory of individuation. What do you mean? The fight with Elden Beast as an event. Like that it's a world ender kind of thing. Web developer for a living. When I play these games, there are a bunch of triggers and conditions that keep popping off in my head, which is why I'm also kind of able to give examples. Oh, nice. Oh. So kind of interesting you should say that, because Jung calls borrowed from Nazism. Jung calls, so there's a couple times where he uses the term like inner God. One of those is in a negative connotation that is referencing the ego. Like when the ego gets out of control, it thinks itself a god. And then there's another. In my first lore video, I make kind of the claim that the Elden Beast is the union of Marika and Radigan, because the anima and animus, when reunited, their soul is in Jung's terminology is godlike. And another thing that I don't know, have you guys ever do you guys know the Vitruvian Man? Do you guys know kind of the squaring of the circle and stuff like that, and the story of the Vitruvian Man? Yeah. So, and I'll just jump to it super quick because I know we're church. So, Vitruvian Man is a famous. It's not really. Well, yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Yeah. So the squaring of the circle, the coming together of the feminine and masculine, all of those things are also, when in completion, are supposed to be like your divine self. Once all of these different things are in harmony with one another, it's like your divine self. And I kind of made the mistake of calling that the Elden Beast the self, of America and Radagon, and I think what it is it's just the anima and animus joined together, which is why Radagon becomes the sword, and the more feminine qualities of, like, you know, thought and intelligence and stuff like that it seems to be displayed by America, which means that us being the third stage of the animus, we would have a different kind of projection of that god. Like, our version of the animus and America's new developmental stage, we would have a different thing. And when I think about the Elden Beast, I think of like it's still like in its adolescence. It seems like it's still not fully developed. It seems kind of larval still. So, although the word itself isn't like specifically stated, there's a lot of references to godlike. To dive a little more into some of the other lore aspects.
Emboldened by the flame.
Totally ignore the Elden Beast, so I was amazed when you... Oh. What do you mean, Cranky? These are the things where I feel like it would help your lore hunting to dive a little more into some of the other lore aspects. What specifically, I guess?
Someone must extinguish thy flame.
And we know flame to be the curse of the Earth Tree.
Target the fell.
Very clever. Hup! Ow. I did love this fight though, and like the beginnings of the game when you first playing it. The thing that Elden Ring did better than any other FromSoft game is throw you off the rhythm of like the fight. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh. Who's Karkion? Oh, where's my weapon? Oh, for fuck's sake. Quit it. Wow, you have got to be kidding me. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So like you're only coming at it from a Carl Jung aspect, but as I was telling you, having some knowledge of the Cabal, Gnosticism, and Norse mythology might help you pinpoint things easier. Yeah, no, I agree, and actually I've done a fair bit of research on those other topics, and I think that for sure that they all they all circle the correct things. the reason I refer to Carl Jung so much is because all of these things are human stories, and there seems to be there doesn't seem to be a person who understands the human psychology better than Carl Jung. So I think that Carl Jung is found inside those other things, if that makes sense. Like if we were gonna use like Inception as a metaphor, like you would say that seed that was planted, right, archetypes, exactly. And Carl Jung often says, like, you'll find all these archetypes and all this stuff in mythology and in religious texts. Like, I think everything comes back to human psychology and Carl Jung. I mean, I don't want to just say Carl Jung. I think human psychology is probably better because there's other really incredibly I can't talk right now. One second. Dude, will you stagger, please, bro? Thank you. Yeah.
Smoldering with thy meager flame.
Oh, my flame gets bigger, baby.
In fear of the night, the hands of the fell omen shall brook thee no quarter.
I wonder why he mentions night there. So yeah, Crank. I agree with you. I think that you can find similarities and different inspirations from a various, which is why it's really hard to pinpoint this down, because there's so many different inspirations that seem to fit that you have to go to the source of those inspirations to kind of find the true meaning, I think. And I definitely think like there's certain characters that definitely are tied specifically from a different game or a piece of mysticism or whatever that is. But they're all birthed from somebody's thought process and somebody's own psychology. So that's kind of why. Also ideas of other games, like I was telling you, Persona 5R game where the theme is exactly the same as this game, human psyche angle after the loss of a loved one. Yeah. I love this castle. Yeah, I've literally looked up like 4 things in this stream alone. I love this imagery here. To me, it's just another illustration of firmament and how one of the ancient old stories is that the demiurge was born from an egg, then uses that shell to conceal what's happening inside America. So explain that one a little bit more to me, because I'm not following you that well. Uses that shell to conceal what's happening inside America. I'm gonna need some help with that one, my man. To me, like this castle represents kind of the human psyche as well. It's like the base of it is black, and then like it's tipped with gold, and it's kind of like this fake outside. Yeah, it's so beautiful. Is born from an egg, the creator of the world. When he creates his world, he uses the shell to make sure that the God and the let's see what's happening below the shell. Oh, interesting. That seems to fit the Dark Souls 3 their final DLC really well. Persona, yeah. And so would you say that the demiurge is then the demigods in Elden Ring?
You there? Come over here, would you?
Me?
You're tarnished, aren't you? I would advise against taking the main gate into the castle. It's tightly guarded by hardened old hands. Oh, try the opening right here. The guards don't know about it. You'll breach the castle undetected.
Will I?
Yes, that's the spirit. You're just the kind of tarnished that I like. I pray for your success.
Never. Somebody likes me, nobody ever. Okay, so the 7 archons that rule over the 7 demonic realms. Considered in the 7 deadly sins. Guided by the 7. Considered in the 7 deadly. No, these are great runes. Oh, okay. So do you find so then do you find that the Elden runes seem to fit the descriptions of the 7 deadly sins pretty well? Because that's something that I've also thought about, but it doesn't seem to quite fit. But I could be wrong. Ow, you bitch. Okay, let's hit this guy, shall we? Thank you. Ugh. Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. After Eve, which is America, obtained the forbidden knowledge. Hmm. Yeah, I tend to agree. That's one thing I really try to avoid doing. So Fair Missoula is where America gains her forbidden knowledge, which is the shattering. So are you saying that the shattering is the forbidden knowledge? And if so, how does that tie into Fair Missoula? It's the moment everything in the game changes. Her mindset, her actions. Okay, so just to understand a little bit better, are you saying that when we go to Fair Missoula, that the way she deals with things like her emotions, that when we go to Fair Missoula and when we do our thing and kill Malekith, that is the moment of the shattering? Like we're going back in time, kind of? It's a memory, and it's the moment where Malekith becomes the guardian of the Rune of Death. Yeah, I definitely think it's a memory. As it's kind of suspended in time. And I think it's a really important moment in the story, obviously, as it seems to be where America made her decision to be more egocentric and basically form her order by taking out the Rune of Death. I think the shattering is something different. And are you saying that her plucking the Rune of Death is the shattering? Curved sword talisman. Well, let's get that on there. She can't deal with loss. She learns about how to deal with it, but with the help of the Greater Lord, but with the help of the Greater Will. I can't get there, because it seems very clear that the timeline of events. You should do it, yeah. It seemed like the timeline of events is that Marika plucked the Rune of Death out, hit it with Malekith and Farum Azula. Golden Order was born. A lot of time passed. Some shit happened. She looked into the Golden Order, and then the Shattering happened. And that's kind of like the value of just end game stuff, is it does provide us with a timeline, and it's if we start to question those things, there's kind of no end of where the questions stop. Because then you have to assume that everybody's lying to you and that the events of the world aren't actually the events of the world. Yeah, I definitely don't think it's like black and white clear by any means, but there definitely seems to be at least a pretty well understood timeline of events. And again, like if we start to question that, that's a really slippery slope. Another bit of really cool, even if the Shattering happening later, it's still the moment where she attains the forbidden knowledge. Would be going down the slippery slope and shattering the moment to get out. So what is that, like specifically, what is that bit of forbidden knowledge? Another really cool thing about this castle, and the reason that it's like black and then gold tipped, is very much the former ruler of it, being Godfrey, and knowing kind of his story of he was Horlu, this very beastly, untamed, rough around the edges person, which would be, you know, like operating as his true self. And then he kind of separated and he put a crown on top of that and became Godfrey, and kind of polished up. Gnosticism at its core is nothing more than that you shouldn't accept what people tell you, to just experience it. It was written at a time where people blindly believed religion. Yeah, I think I'm just having a hard time connecting that with Fair Missoula is all. I everything else you're saying is resonating with me. Right. Yeah, I think that moment is like what we were saying. I think the moment where she starts questioning the greater will and what she's believed in for so long. Seems to be like what we were talking about, that it's more of like that traumatic event that makes one question everything that they've believed in up until that point. And I think you nailed it with it probably being like a miscarriage or something along those lines. I think a lot of evidence is pointing in that direction. Boop. Hello? Fair Missoula might be the door that opened for the greater will, and the shattering is the knowledge. Iron Wet Blade. The Misericordae. Oh, hello. I don't overthink these things sometimes, like the concept of miscarriage just simply gets overlooked. Yeah. Oh, fuck off. Go away. Ah, no. Ow. Okay. I think I might leave it there for today, guys. Like I said, I'm gonna be on a lot tomorrow. I appreciate all you guys coming on and having a chat. It's a lot of fun. I'll probably be on maybe sometime around noon or so tomorrow, and we'll just kind of keep on this path. If you guys haven't yet, please subscribe, give this a like, all that kind of stuff. Hit the bell icon so you know when I'm going live. And then yeah, just always like I said, comment below. Let me know what you would like to talk about in the next one and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.